Hey, I decided to record this from my bed, lying down, because I'm lazy like that sometimes. Um, yeah. God. Religion. The man in the clouds. Heaven and hell. Um, from a very young age, I was always very skeptical about God and, religion, organized religion, talking to some omnipresent force somewhere. It all struck me as bullshit. Like bullshit that was being fed to me and to everyone else unnecessarily. No, I don't believe in God, and I haven't in a long time. It's a very complicated argument that is in my head for the non-existence of a deity or a god, but I'm gonna try and verbalize it so I can communicate it. With all the kind of different gods out there, each religion has their own version of a god, like Allah, Jesus, all those kind of ancient Greek gods. Who's the Hindu god? Is it I'm so I'm so uneducated. Is it Krishna? No, it's fuck. I don't remember. Each religion has their own different kind of gods that they believe in. Now, somebody's got to be wrong, you know? We're all so sure that Allah is God, or Jesus is Lord, and Buddha and all those different Greek gods like Zeus and Hades. Somebody's got to be wrong. So the thing I don't get about religious folk is they're so sure that their god is the right one, and that all other gods are just fuck them. They just don't even exist. Let's not pay any attention to them. What they spout is blasphemy and sacrilegious. Somebody's got to be wrong. Out of all the different gods that have ever existed, if there is only one omnipresent being, then some religions are going to have to be wrong. I don't like how we as mortals, the human race, Homo sapiens, in our form now, have only been around for 10,000 years. But I don't like the way we think we have all the answers. 10,000 years compared to the life age of Earth is really new. It's really fresh. I don't like how we think as mortals we have all the answers. I'm so into the idea of delusion, and if you repeat something in your head enough times, no matter how deluded it might seem in reality, objectively to the outside world, you'll believe it. If I want to believe I am someone, if I want to believe I'm the reincarnation of Jesus, I can make myself believe that. Everyone else looking at me objectively would think I was mad. And they'd be right to think that. They'd be right to think that I was mad. Because that would be mad. That's just that's just common sense and logic. And common sense and logic and reason and rationality have gotten us as a civilization way further than religion, an organized religion, which has taken from humanity, which has indoctrinated humanity and cost the lives of countless people. You know, holy wars, crusades, whatever. Well, at least this is what I believe, that, like, we have free will on this planet. It's just a coincidence that we're here and we exist. It's a coincidence that we are here and we exist and that I've been born. It is a fucking massive coincidence, but that's still... It's easier to kind of say that a God created the world instead of actually looking, like, really deeply and kind of philosophically into the creation of the world, why we're here, where we're going, and what we came from. It's very easy just to say, oh, God did that. That detracts from whatever intelligence that we have as a species. Any intelligence that we have as a species goes out the fucking window when you just say that God created that. And God created DNA structures, stuff like that. My point is, and this is it took me 7 minutes to actually say this. This is a really complicated one, even for me to try and understand. Everything that we see around us, and everything that's in us, chromosomes, DNA, our genetics, the trees, the animals, the atmosphere, these things just are. They just exist. They just are. But we, our human brain, we have a very much, we have a problem-solving brain. The human brain goes into detective mode and tries to figure out and find out the root cause for some things. We can't just accept that things are, that they have come to be and they just are. We're always looking at it from a relative point of view for our human brain to understand. I don't need to know how DNA was made or why DNA exists right now. It exists to serve a purpose. A purpose that is relative to human beings. We can only try and make sense of DNA. Animals, like tigers and lions and bears, they don't give a fuck about DNA. They don't give a shit about chromosomes. They just are, and they just exist to eat, sleep, and reproduce. But our brain is like, we have a great, like, imagination. And that separates us from the animals. We can imagine different ideas of, like, how we came to be. Some people say God, some people say the Big Bang, evolution, that kind of thing. All of these are just words made up by people, like we're immortal somehow, like we're all-knowing, which we're fucking not. All these words are just made up by people, made to be relative to other people, and we are just mortals. We will die eventually. Why do we think that we have all the answers? I believe that people who are rational and intelligent can be reduced to going to churches, getting down on their fucking knees, and, like, worshipping thin air. They're essentially like talking to themselves under the guise of talking to God. And talking to yourself, do you know what we call that? We call those affirmations. And we call that self-talk. You are not talking to a god, you are talking to yourself. You are making yourself feel better through the guise of the Lord. The Lord is acting through you. Fuck that. You're acting through yourself. That's it. The Big Bang, evolution, these are just words that we have made up as human beings who are... we come with our faults and our flaws. We're not infallible. We are very much broken. We have made all these words that as an aim to try and explain to other people, to just other normal human beings, the state of affairs with the universe. Look objectively outside all of the human language and our constraints and just figure out that things are just there objectively. They have existed objectively, and they will continue to exist objectively for the next few fucking trillion years, whether you like it or not. Yeah, it's a very kind of complicated one. I hope that kind of made sense. Fuck it.